Lalibela, which is a town famous for its 12th century rock-hewn churches, has regained access to safe water tanks to the largest solar-powered water project by the International Committee of the Red Cross in Africa. The new system will provide reliable water to an estimated 77,000 residents, addressing shortages caused by years of conflict and unreliable power supply. The communications coordinator for the ICRC in Ethiopia, Stephen Anderson.
So for the people, it was almost impossible to have proper, reliable access to water. So with the authorities, over 3 years ago, it was decided that the ICRC would help with installing a water system that is basically functioning on solar energy, because the power supply was the main problem actually for having this function. We had good support, notably from the German government, who financed this project at 50%. After intense works and a difficult period, we were able to inaugurate this new system this week in Lalibela itself.
The United States is considering action such as sanctions and Pentagon engagement on counterterrorism as part of a plan to compel the Nigerian government to better protect Christian communities and religious freedom. Nigeria is under scrutiny from U.S. President Donald Trump, who in early November threatened military action over the treatment of Christians in the country. Nigeria says claims that Christians face persecution misrepresents a complex security situation and do not take into account efforts to safeguard religious freedom. The senior official leading the State Department's Bureau of African Affairs, Jonathan Pratt, says Trump's administration is developing a plan to incentivize and compel the Nigerian government to better protect Christian communities and to improve religious freedom. Lastly, the U.S. State Department has told American embassies and consulates that countries which enforce certain policies on race, gender, abortion and migration should be categorized as infringing human rights. Critics accuse the Trump administration of weaponizing international human rights for domestic ideological goals. The BBC's Tom Bateman.
The Trump administration has aggressively sought to, in its words, terminate diversity policies in the US, arguing for what it calls merit-based opportunity, a move which has been fiercely condemned by critics as turning back the clock on improving outcomes for minorities and other underrepresented groups. The new instructions will also label as human rights infringers countries that subsidize abortion or facilitate mass migration. The administration says the guidelines are intended to stop what it calls destructive ideologies.
Now recapping on your top story, South Africa's President Ramaphosa's spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says on X that Ramaphosa will not hand over the G20 summit to a charge d'affaires, which is someone who serves as an embassy chief of mission in the absence of the ambassador. That's after the US reiterated that it would not attend the summit in Johannesburg. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's that time once again to be on the move.
Yes.
It's great to be back.
Good to be back. How are you?
I'm okay. I've been listening to you. I've been
Okay,
enjoying
good.
the show. Yeah.
Well, the Channel Africa family has been keeping me company. So even though you weren't here, I did miss you just a little bit.
And
but,
why
I've
just
been
a
good.
little, not too much.
Not too much. I mean, I've had
Okay.
more than a good time with the Channel Africa family hang out with me here on the show.
Well, it is a Friday edition of On the Move today, and definitely we've got so many wonderful Friday conversations. You know, our conversations are always about fun on a Friday.
Indeed.
And we're going to be starting to speak about the accessibility of what we call art. You know, sometimes it's very exclusive. Most of the time it is exclusive, right? We're going to be looking at this idea of how do we make it more accessible to a different generation, access to art shapes creativity, identity, and also opportunities that many of us don't actually know about, but also community access is something that should be looked at. We're going to be looking at Ayanda Gumede, founder of Ayanda I Am Art Gallery, who is shaping traveling exhibition units that actually create an inclusive art experience in townships and informal settlements, rural areas, and other undeserved communities. So that sounds very, very, very cool. And then on the second hour, we check out things in Nigeria.
Yeah, in Nigeria, we're taking a look at the online skit economy. If you're somebody who's been glued to especially your TikTok and your social media, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic, you realize...
Sounds like someone we know.
Yeah, me especially. You'd see that, the online skit economy has really grown. People go online and make these really creative skits. Some are comedic, some are dramatic, and it really has created really a new sense of a new sense of creativity on the online space. And even though this has really boomed as a full-blown skit economy with an estimated 31 million US dollars, it still isn't as great as it should be. Many skit creators face unstable incomes, weak infrastructure, and IP challenges. So we'll be speaking to Professor Bell Ihua, who's an entrepreneurship scholar and executive director at the Africa Polling Institute, whose research has looked at the skit economy, how it emerged, how it works, and why it's become such a powerful force in Nigeria's creative sector.
Yeah, and a Friday is always all about music. So our final hour is definitely all going to be music. And today it's going to be exciting, isn't it? Because we're going back in time, but also into where we are right now. Because I think this has been a timeless kind of group who have actually kind of transcended different eras of music and genre bending, right?
Yeah.
But we're going to have one of their members here, Nonhlanhla Mafu, member of Mafigi Zolo. She's defined herself in her own way with her own distinct career in music, but also she's done a few things in fashion.
Oh yeah, she'll be debuting a brand new single with us today that is titled Ingabayam. So looking forward to that one. New music right here on The Move. Stay with us for the next 3 hours. We are at Channel Africa 1, streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. It's great to have you with us. Let's go. We're on The Move.
África. Conhece o Ntivani?
Claro que sou eu.
Ntivani é o amante da música de corpo e alma.
Eu amo música africana.
Ele aprecia todos os tipos de melodias e passa os seus dias a ouvir a Channel Africa. Adivinha só, a Channel Africa quer ajudar o Ntivani e os amantes da música em todo o lado a descobrir ainda mais música incrível. Por isso, a Channel Africa está a convocar artistas africanos a submeterem as suas músicas. Músicos, lembrem-se de nos dar todas as informações relevantes no music@channelafrica.co.za. As submissões são a vossa oportunidade de ser ouvidos, mas não garantem inclusão na lista. Todas as submissões serão cuidadosamente analisadas para verificar se cumprem os requisitos da nossa estação. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Gratitude begins with a story. Find yours on Channel Africa. Now streaming on our new website and mobile app.
Get set and be ready to go. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, there's so many people that are trying to do things in the art space to make it more accessible, and I think that's wonderful to see. But there still needs to be done a lot of work in terms of making sure that accessibility goes to the grassroots, right? Access to art shapes creativity, identity, and opportunity. Yet many communities rarely encounter galleries or curated exhibitions. Taking art directly to the people is a powerful way to break those barriers, nurture talent, and ensure that creativity is not limited to those with access to formal spaces. Well, this is what Ayanda Gumede Mogote is trying to do. Founder of Ayanda I Am Art Gallery, preparing a launch in South Africa's first ever walk-in mobile art gallery, a traveling exhibition unit that will bring professional, inclusive art experiences to townships, informal settlements, rural areas, and other communities. Launching this on the 30th of November, the initiative aims to make art accessible to children and adults who may never have stepped inside a gallery, and to inspire young people to see creativity as a viable future career. Ayanda joins us on the line. Welcome, Ayanda. How are you?
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good. This is wonderful that you're doing this. Tell us a little bit more about your background in art so we understand the context in which this comes from.
So, when I was on my early childhood, art has been something that I've been passionate about, and until the days where I was in working with an art gallery, and then also after working with the art gallery, I ended up marrying an artist, and that's where I started also having the passion of art and creating art myself. And then later on in stage, at a later stage, that's where I started managing other artists and mentoring them in the space, because I've been in the space for quite some time now. Yeah.
And in your journey of art, Ayanda, what is it that you recognized about the art world, the art community, the art landscape that sort of had certain people on the outside of it that brought in this brainchild of making art more accessible to those?
So it's emerging. It's mostly emerging artists. They don't get an opportunity to exhibit in the high end galleries, and it's for them to be. They're always saying that you need to be seen to be to get an exhibition. But how can you be seen and you don't get an opportunity to exhibit in those spaces? So that's why the Art Club Foundation was, the Ayanda Art Gallery was formed, because of the scarcity that the emerging artists have when they need to promote their works.
And was this about just the emerging artists? I mean, you work quite closely with a lot of artists, and you realize that, like you just said, that, some artists come from the outskirts and really outside of the main art community, and they didn't have access. But what about the people? Because art needs an audience, right? And the audiences are usually very niche and in certain spaces. What is it about the audiences that said, I have to take the art to the people instead of the people trying to get to the art, because there is a lot of boundaries that doesn't give those people access to come to the art?
So what it's because I think the accessibility is scarce. Going to, especially in township areas, you don't get to see any exhibition happening, or anything that's related to art, or it's not, it's something that is marginalized. So that's why I created I'm launching the mobile art gallery to take the art to the people, so that they can experience the art, the gallery space.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that sounds like a lot of work. A mobile art gallery, how would it look like? I mean, is it shapeshift? Is it, how is it going to be? I'm so curious around that adventure. Are you going to use maybe a caravan? I'm so curious about that.
Actually, it's a trailer that is it's a custom made trailer that is made to look like a gallery or a gallery space. So you can literally walk. It's a walk in. You walk in the gallery. There's art pieces that are displayed in the trailer. So yes, it feels, and it is a gallery, but on wheels.
I've seen that actually on social media, where in in New York they did something like that, and they could actually carry this gallery in different parts of the city. I mean, where are you going to go? Because some people are going to be saying, people are not really interested in art in the townships, in marginalized communities. Is there an audience there? What's keeping you saying, okay, I actually want to do this?
It's because I see there is a need for art to be appreciated. Also, it is appreciated. It's just that it's not accessible. That's why I took the route of making this the mobile gallery to be able to be accessible to areas like the townships and where I come from. There is talented artists there, but they don't they're not encouraged to do art. And I think if I'm bringing that to them, it's going to give them a different perspective about art.
Would there be an education element to this as well?
Yes, they're going to be. We're going to be doing art workshops. We're going to be going to schools, and going to schools, going to tertiaries, to just talk about art and just just to talk about art.
All right, Ayanda, stay on the line. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back to you and continue speaking about this mobile gallery. Sounds really interesting. We'll continue chatting about this after the break.
Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chairmane.
I've witnessed something fresh, something exciting, and something very inspirational from the president of the country, William Ruto. Whenever athletes are performing to their best level, he always comes on board to reward those athletes, be it football, be it athletics, and not leaving it up to the sport ministry.
The president realizes that sports is a business, and for that reason, he also reduces the number of people who are jobless, because sports now is such a serious business, and for that reason, commercialization of sports is a major way of improving or increasing employment opportunities for the young people, and that is why the president has been very persistent in trying as much as possible to inspire more sports personalities to reduce the baggage of the people who are struggling to get job opportunities in the country among the young people.
Francis F.M. Motegi, our correspondent from East Africa in Nairobi, Kenya.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
The sound of Africa is evolving. Experience our new mobile app. Free to download, free to connect.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
We're speaking to Ayanda Gumete, the founder of Ayanda I Am Art Gallery, a mobile art gallery with a traveling exhibition unit that will bring professional, inclusive art experiences to townships, informal settlements, rural areas, and other underserved communities in South Africa. Well, you are launching on the 30th of November 2025, Ayanda. That's really around the corner. It's just next week. Take us through some of the preparation processes, especially from creating the mobile space itself, how you wanted it to look like, how you wanted it to feel, but also bringing the artists in, which artists are going to be exhibiting, and of course, deciding which communities you're going to be driving this art gallery to.
So the exhibition will be taking place at Moses Mabhida in Durban. That's
Nice.
where we're gonna be launching the art gallery. So the artists that I'm working with, it will be mostly the artists that I've been working with since the beginning of the year, which was from the ladies from the Empowered Voices, which will be female artists, which is one of them is Olile Mazimbugo and Balietu, and also one of the other male artists would be Diniko Moraru. He's based in Johannesburg. So those are the people that will be part of the exhibition, as well as what we're going to be having there will be live painting. One of the artists from Duty will be painting live, which is emerging artist. There's going to be live paint sessions as well. as art auction the very same day. Yes.
Well, sounds incredible. Tell us more about how we can participate. Where people are able to? Are there tickets that are being sold to see the gallery? Is it free access? And of course, where we can go online to find out more information.
Okay. For more information, you can go on my website, which is ayandaartgallery.com. And also, I'll be hosted by Fresh Food with Tuladu. So the tickets will be both sides. If you can check the Instagram page, Fresh Food with Tuladu, that's where you're gonna get tickets. And the tickets are 350 for the buffet. But to come and see the actual mobile gallery, it's free. But going to enjoy the food, it will be the 350. There'll be a buffet for the day. It will start at 12, and it will end at 4 in the afternoon.
All right, cool, Ayanda. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, that's Ayanda Gumede, founder of Ayanda I Am Art Gallery, which aims to be an initiative that makes art accessible to children and adults who may never have stepped inside a gallery. What's your take on that one? Do you think we should bring art closer to the people? Your take on that one? Do you think it's a great initiative? +276346912 is a way you can engage with us and have fun with us here in studio. Remember, you also can find us on our live stream at Channel Africa 1 on YouTube. That's our handle there. And also you can find us on our Facebook page, simply titled Channel Africa.
9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Kahleni bafana kahleni ukungidlela umuntu intombi iqoma la ethanda khona kahleni bafana kahleni unginyunde intombi iqoma la ithanda khona bangakutshela lokungami bakutshele lokungami alikho isoka elingenasici banomona love bangakutshela lokungami baphinde bakutshele lokungami alikho isoka elingenasici banomona ngawe love.
Hey, so by Java there featuring Q Twins and Zugulu from his 2023 album Isibugo. Hey man, that one takes us to 28 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. I don't know about you. We're broadcasting from Johannesburg. I don't know what city you're in, but Johannesburg is a buzz right now. You kind of feel the fever. You feel kind of there's something happening in Johannesburg. Just driving to work today was like, oh, okay.
Have you been feeling the fever?
Yeah.
Literally, Benji. But I know what you mean, yes.
Yeah.
South Africa really has been a buzz. It's the G20 summit.
Sure.
And Johannesburg has almost come to a standstill, especially in particular areas around the places where the delegates will be arriving, where the delegates will be traveling, some road closures happening. And all of us sort of watching our screens, listening to our radios very closely on everything going on in the G20
being
summit.
delayed in traffic, some of us. So it's a lot of adjustments that are being made, definitely. And, it's going to be fantastic because Channel Africa will be there. I know that our news team is going to be broadcasting live from tomorrow at Nasrec itself. So all the updates will be there for you from our news team. So we're looking forward to those broadcasts from tomorrow, of course, here on Channel Africa. So do look out for those updates. And you are listening to Channel Africa right now. We're moving on to our sports update and let's find out what's happening there.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Musibudi Makura with your latest sports news at the SAWA. So the Confederation of African Football, through its safety as well as security division and in collaboration with the local organising committee, have now launched a comprehensive training program across Morocco. That's in preparation for the Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations tournament in December. So the training aims to equip participants with a comprehensive understanding of CAF's operational safety as well as security requirements, while also providing a platform for the local organising committee and commission to present its security concept and engage in discussions with CAF safety as well as security officials. Now, the training brings together key officials as well as commanders responsible for security and emergency operations in each host city. These includes those overseeing venue safety and security, police forces. There's also police escorts, fire brigades, airport as well as traffic security. Back home now, Migaga Dosso, the head coach of South African football side Mamelodi Sundowns, says he's fully prepared for whatever Saint Elulupopo might bring when they kick off their CAF Champions League group stage campaign on Saturday. The two teams will meet at Loftus Versfeld in the country's capital city Pretoria at 3 p.m. Central African time. The Congolese side arrived with a reputation that precedes them, having knocked out another South African side, Orlando Pirates, out in the preliminary round, a tie that also has led to a disciplinary action against defender Mokoko Amele, as well as the coach of the side, Guy Bugasa. Now, opening their campaign at home, Cardoso is now focused on keeping his team level-headed and also unfazed by any issues that Lupopo might try to spark on the day.
We try always, and I try in a big effort, to make players understand that any emotion that you may leave that is not proper to play a football match should be left in the locker room. And whatever happens inside the pitch should always be managed emotionally in the right way from the players. Because I always want the players to keep their minds and their focus on the behaviors and some emotions that are negative to allow the player to keep himself on that path.
Meanwhile, Cardoso also believes that with the level of tournament it is at right now, that participating teams will be a lot more mindful of the fair play rules.
I don't raise as much as I can negative ones, so that I can focus myself on what is my job. And I think that's what the players have to do. I don't believe that in a group stage match, things that are not so normal will happen in the same way. That's always more highlights, more pressure, more attention, so the behaviors, and there were fines that happened. I think that that was a very special match. That happened with a lot of pressure also for that team that had a possibility of right story. And that brings a lot of emotions.
Further afield now, a 7-week break is built into next year's Major League Soccer calendar. This to allow players to compete at the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Now, the 2026 schedule released on Thursday showed that MLS will pause from the 25th of May, which is FIFA's mandatory player reporting date, until the 16th of July. This to accommodate the 48-team tournament, which the USA are co-hosting with Canada as well as Mexico. Now, the World Cup starts officially on the 11th of June. Only the final set for the 19th of July will take place after the resumption of the MLS League. Now, the 7-week break is considerably longer than past World Cup breaks, which totaled 2 weeks back in 2010 right here in South Africa, in 2014 in Brazil, and then 9 days in 2018 in Russia. The MLS, meanwhile, season did not overlap with the 2022 World Cup, which was staged in Qatar from November to December. And finally, South Africa's Proteas Test bowling coach Pete Botha has revealed that Simbola Kagiso Rabada will face a telling 24 hours to determine his participation in the second Test match against India starting on Saturday. Now, Rabada missed the first Test in Kolkata with a rib injury he suffered in training, with Corbin Bosch stepping in at Eden Gardens and also proving his worth with crucial rundowns, the order in a 30-run win last weekend. Botha says Rabada did not train on Thursday morning.
Rabada is still being monitored by our medical staff. He obviously wasn't at practice today, but they'll make a call in the next 24 hours. As far as the pitch is concerned, obviously I had a look at it this morning, still 2 days out, so it's difficult to predict if they're going to actually cut more grass off or not.
All right, so that concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. With Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. This weekend, South Africa will host the G20 Summit at the Nasrec Expo Center near Soweto. And Channel Africa will be right there to bring you live updates, interviews, and real-time insights from the main venue. And so, our regular lineup will be adjusted just a little bit for this weekend to accommodate the G20. On Saturday, the 22nd of November, the Oasis will broadcast for 2 hours. Out and About takes a break for a full look at the G20. After Africa Chart Toppers, our news and current affairs team will bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages directly from Nasrec. And normal programming will resume at 8 p.m. Central African Time. And then on Sunday, the 23rd of November, the Oasis will also broadcast for 2 hours. Tech Africa steps aside for our news and current affairs teams to bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages. Then, Planting the Seed resumes from 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Central African Time. Channel Africa, your window to the continent, connecting you to the world in an African perspective.
All right, let's move on right now and get our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Good morning. Our top business story this hour: South Africa's G20 presidency is termed Africa's G20. As the 2025 G20 chair, South Africa is set to be well positioned to champion the priorities of emerging markets and elevate Africa's development agenda within the G20 framework. In the discussions ahead of this weekend's G20 Leaders Summit, the president of the Pan-African Parliament, Chief Fortune Sharumbira, has called on the continent to be united in order to advance a coordinated platform for continental engagement at the G20 summit, especially because the world is now starting to recognize Africa as a key element of the global economic architecture.
You can't leave out Africa. Africa is now the continent of the future. It's a recognition that this is the continent of the future. You can no longer regard Africa as a backward continent which doesn't matter. And the fact that Africa enjoys that population of the youth for the future. And those youth from Africa will also influence the economic dynamics across the world.
Meanwhile, Germany's ambassador to South Africa, Andreas Peschke, has reaffirmed Europe's commitment to strengthening its strategic partnership with South Africa as President Cyril Ramaphosa met with the EU leadership yesterday. Speaking at the SA-EU trilateral engagement in Sandton, Peschke said top EU leaders, including European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa, have already arrived in Johannesburg, with Germany's Chancellor and Vice Chancellor expected shortly.
Yeah, first of all, we are of course all very happy that we have come here for the G20 summit. So the two EU leaders, President von der Leyen, President Costa, are already here. The German Chancellor is going to come soon. The Vice Chancellor is going to come soon. So we are all here supporting South Africa for the G20 summit.
Still on G20 news, international relations analyst Oscar van Heerden described the arrival of some of the world leaders in South Africa as a significant moment for Africa. This year's G20 summit will focus on helping developing economies adapt to the climate crisis, transition to clean energy, and cut excessive debt. Van Heerden says there's likely to be a declaration at the end of the summit.
They know that the Group of 20 is about the 20 largest economies in the world, but they are keen and they are sensitive enough to know that they cannot operate in a world without Africa, without the third world, and certainly without the global south. And I think because everyone has been on the receiving end of the bully called Trump, that they are going to rally behind South Africa. Not that they are anti-Trump or anti the US, but they are saying that we are no longer going to be bullied, and we need to recognize that issues of sustainability, equality are actually important in the multilateral global system.
ExxonMobil says it's lifted force majeure on a large liquefied natural gas project in Mozambique called Rovuma LNG. The company paused work after French oil major Total Energies also declared force majeure on its separate LNG project in 2021 due to security concerns in the southern African country. The Exxon and Total Energies projects share some facilities. Exxon said they're working with their partners and the government of Mozambique to ensure the safety of employees and facilities. The U.S. oil firm continues to expect to make a final investment decision on the project in 2026, with the first LNG targeted for 2030. The Chinese Commerce Ministry says trade cooperation between China and Japan has been severely damaged and has severely damaged bilateral economic and trade exchanges between the two countries. The ministry urged the Japanese Prime Minister to retract her comments on Taiwan or face the consequences. A diplomatic spat between China and Japan has intensified since Sanai Takaichi told Parliament on the 7th of November that a hypothetical Chinese attack on democratically ruled Taiwan could trigger a military response from Tokyo. China is Japan's second largest export market after the United States, buying about $125 billion of Japanese goods in 2024, mainly industrial equipment, semiconductors, and automobiles. And Tokyo could struggle to find alternative markets if China closes its doors to Japanese goods. And now for a look at the indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,453 naira this morning. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 47. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 97. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 86. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 33. Russia, 80 rubles 30. In India, it's 88 rupees 66. China, 7 yuan 10. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 20 this morning. $1 is trading at 76 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,060 per ounce. Platinum, $1,501 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $62.47 a barrel. And those are your business news. I'll be back with another update in the next hour. In the meantime, if you have any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa in business on Channel Africa.
The United States was very vocal at the beginning of South Africa's G20 presidency, and this is largely due to strained relations with South Africa at the time, that they were not really keen on participating. Where do they stand right now?
The US is planning to take over the presidency of the G20 next year, and our understanding from them is that they intend to continue to do so, and therefore it is quite difficult then to be in a situation where you are not attending deputies' meetings or discussions during our presidency and then to take over the presidency next year. From a finance track perspective, there has been engagement. We've been working on a communique last week and this week here in Zimbabwe. What's important about that is that it's a consensus document. And so all the members in the room have to agree to the language that is used there. And our US colleagues have been part of those discussions and negotiations.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The G20 Summit through African eyes, live updates, and expert voices only on Channel Africa. Global leaders, African insights. Follow the G20 Summit with Channel Africa as it happens.
We don't have to go to 360 degrees. Now it's time we go the 180. You don't have to climb the highest mountains, for all you're looking for is within you. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as I sing my song. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as you hear my words. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting, I'll be oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting, I'll be. We still live in yesterday, many today the waste away, but nevertheless it's never late. Oh, see the times have changed. I thought you knew that these words will never ever wait for you. The water's gone past times of fighting, so drop your guns and your swords and let us live all as one. We all need love and understanding, so drop your guns and your swords and let us leave all as one. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting. Oh, I'll be. Across the ocean, it's more than just a goddess. We all need one another. Oh, oh. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting for you, for you, you and you. I've been waiting for you, every people, wherever you be, it's more than just a color. We only want
Hey, that is Asha with one titled 360 Degrees. It's 48 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. You are listening to On the Move with myself, Benjamin Moshatama, and Palesa. It's our Friday edition, and we've got so many interesting conversations. Coming up is one that we're going to be looking at Nigerian skits, right? Yeah, I remember when Nigerian skits were something that I used to love, right? Back in the day. Like Mr. Ibu.
But were those skits? Those were more like movie formats. Skits are so much like shorter, punchier. I think they work best in on social media because
They were
we have
skits. They were the first form of skits because some of them we didn't watch the whole thing, right? So
I watched the whole thing.
No, not all.
We watched my mom loved Mr. Ibu so much. Let me tell you something.
Sure.
We watched the whole thing. We even watched the first one and the second one and the
Sure.
third one. We'll spend all day watching Nollywood movies, especially Mr. Ibu.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mr. E. But things have now moved, like you say,
Yeah.
from just the long format of a comedy skit to very like social media skits,
Right, yeah.
which are made for that context. And I think it just shows you how dramatically social media has changed what content actually looks like.
True.
Because now what you describe as a skit is just like, no, it's not a skit.
Yeah.
But what we used to know as a skit back in the day was a skit.
Okay.
It was a skit.
But isn't the word skit characterized by the short format?
Yeah, there was short form. They weren't long.
They were long.
They
Mr.
were long.
Ibu.
They were long, but not as long as like a normal comedy. Wouldn't you think?
I think they were pretty long. They were mini movies. They were movies.
There were many movies.
Yeah,
That's a skit.
No, I don't think it's a skit. A skit is a much shorter format. You could spend all day watching Mr. Ibu.
Yeah, because you wouldn't even have like, would an episode last 15 minutes?
Yes, of Mr. Ibu. Definitely more than 15 minutes.
Like 20?
20, 30 even.
Yeah, you see, that's a skit.
No.
A movie that's not a movie.
Well, it's not a movie, but it's not a skit.
You see how things have changed.
It's not a skit. I don't think it's a skit.
Okay, I think it's a skit. But it's just now, skits look different in the format of social media. They've become shorter, and it's going to be interesting to find out from our guest about that change, because post-COVID-19, we saw that evolution as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to pose this question that we both have around the definition of a skit.
Of the skit, yeah.
And if the format actually matters. I think the format matters in terms of, what... how things have changed to what they used to be to where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's very interesting for me.
Yeah, well, looking forward to that. It's almost going into the second hour of the show. But for now, let's take a break. And we'd love you to engage in this conversation in particular before the second hour comes, so we can really see where you are, where your head is when it comes to the changing formats of what we see in entertainment. The skits, the movies, the short movies. Very, very interesting stuff. It's 9:51 Central Africa time.
Zilipendwa
na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Leo tujadili kuhusu chipukizi wanaoimba nyimbo za wasanii wengine. Unadhani hili linatokana na nini, Omari?
Nadhani kweli kwamba tukizama muziki ya sasa, hasa wasanii ambao ni chipukizi, kwa kweli kwamba yani karibu kutoka muziki yao wenyewe, lakini wanakuwa wanataka kuhubiria muziki ya zamani, hizo muziki ya wengine ambao ni hivyo.
Wengine wanadai kufanya hivyo ni kupromote vipaji vyao haraka ili waweze kujulikana. Je, yawezekana kukawa na ukweli wowote au ndio kukosa kabisa kipaji cha kuandika mistari?
Ndio, unaona kwamba msanii anapoazimia kwamba kuchukua wimbo mwingine wa msanii mwingine na kurudia mara mbili sivyo, haionyeshi kwamba yani ndio wanaanza kazi ya muziki aizani, lakini ukiangalia kabisa asilimia kubwa utakuja kuona kwamba wanakosa ile mawazo ya kutunga muziki.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Many fine girls stay for you, but I get it one in particular where they close the married to know you. You know, say man, you know, can speak for now. Got the money, get the vocabulary where you feel it. My no man, me did to do me. Some more boys did to do me. Sure you won't go there for so long. See to my no baby. We go spray mommy leaky. All I am is they make it more. Coconut oil, no fit to fry or do to my no man, oh baby. My darling, my darling, oh my darling, my darling, my darling, my darling, my darling, oh my darling, my darling, oh my darling, my darling, my darling, my darling, oh my darling, oh. Seriously, I feel sharply go fight for divorce if you go follow me to my yard, oh my love. Follow me to my yard, oh my love. Yeah, oh. Anybody, I'm a make I no catch anybody. Yeah, you cause I feel collapse anybody. I no call ya, they do the little piece. Yeah, oh. I no call ya, so cut you Alibaba, oh no be vibes, and inshallah, oh I no call ya for this and that day, yeah. I know these small boys they go December, cause now koto, skitty baby, they are saying I me they do me. Some more boys they do me. Sure you won't go there for so long, see to my own baby. We go spray mommy leaky. All I am is they make it more. Coconut oil, no fit to fry or do to my no man, oh baby. My darling, my darling, oh.
This one sounds good. This is Victony titled My Darling. You tuned into On The Move right here on Channel Africa. We're moving on to the second hour of the show. We've been looking at the word skit, and I actually didn't see this, coming up in this particular way, because we'll be looking at the skit economy of Nigeria. And when we look historically, we're trying to see what has been characterized as skits and what hasn't been characterized as skits, and what also social media, especially post COVID, has really changed how we take a look at comedy, how we initiate comedy, but also how we observe comedy as well. So what exactly is a skit, and what is going on there in Nigeria's skit economy? I'm seeing that same thing also happening here in South Africa, where I've been enjoying quite a number of skits, and we know some of those popular skit influencers on social media. It's very, very entertaining, and people are really going out of, because sometimes they'll post, like an influencer will post the behind the scenes, right, of their skits. And when we see the videos, those videos are like 15 seconds, sometimes like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, right?
Sure.
So that's very short. But when you see the behind the scenes in terms of what that one creator, or sometimes if it's more than one creator who have come together, it takes hours for them to shoot what we then take in 3 minutes and see as like the short skit, and we laugh at and we have a good time. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, but also that's the thing, are they getting a lot out of it like the previous guys? I mean, if you think about Mr. Ibu's son, Osita Oyeme, that guy's got money now.
Yeah,
he's pocketed
definitely
so much money.
Oh, because
he's a celebrity. So I wonder, because those skits had kind of like that Nollywood franchise going with them, and kind of was organized in some way and corporatized as they developed, right? And they had backup by the private sector.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just doing these skits for social media consumption, can you get the same support?
I don't think so, because also think about how we used to consume this media, right? How we used to consume Nollywood movies it wasn't digital. It was very physical, right? We'd go and buy DVDs. And similarly to music, every CD you'd buy or every DVD you'd buy would be a sale to the artist. And then how many other DVDs or CDs or VHSs that they would sell would mean that they're actually getting that money in the pocket.
Sure.
So the likes of Mr. Ibu, who was big in Nollywood, and his movies came out on DVDs, and that's how we access them here in South Africa as well. We'd buy DVDs,
What was the channel?
buy DVDs.
What Magic?
Yes, and then we started seeing them on TV after, they started getting more popular. But we were actually consuming it physically, meaning there was physical money that could be counted. If I buy one DVD, that is a sale. Whereas on social media, you can get as many likes and views as you want, but that doesn't equate to a sale in particular. You're not selling anything. We're just taking in your art, but we haven't bought anything.
Yeah.
So I wonder how that works now. And even though they make money, I mean, you can get advertising, of course, once your thing gets popular, but it's not on a 1-by-1 ratio. I take in your art, that means I buy it, that means you get money from it.
And also, because of the duration of the skit, it's 1 minute. No one's going to buy it from you, to be honest. No one's going to say like,
right, let me buy this 1 minute thing.
Let me buy this 1 minute
because it's done in one minute.
In 1 minute, yeah. Does it have the same value as a Nollywood skit back in the day?
All right, it's 10 a.m. Central Africa time. Those are questions we're asking ourselves, but we'll continue with someone who's well researched in this particular field of things that will be chatting to us in the next hour of the show about the about Nigerian skits online in these days. Let's go to Onele Nzinzi and get our latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Looking at your top stories, convicted detained separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu sentenced to life imprisonment in Nigeria, and a diplomatic row between South Africa and the United States intensified. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Nigeria's High Court has convicted detained separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu on terrorism charges and sentenced him to life imprisonment. The verdict was read in his absence after the leader of the outlawed organization, the indigenous people of Biafra, was ejected from the court after repeated interruptions. The court said it was satisfied that Kanu had made a series of broadcasts to incite violence and killings as part of his campaign for a separate state in southeast Nigeria, known as the Biafra. Kanu, who's been in prison since 2021, has denied all the charges.
Furthermore, Nigerian authorities have shut schools in 5 districts in central Kwara State, fearing they could be targeted by armed gangs after a deadly attack on a church in the state earlier in the week. Nigeria has witnessed a spate of attacks by gunmen, including the kidnapping on Monday of 25 schoolgirls from a boarding school in northwestern Kebbi State. This has placed a spotlight of insecurity and forced President Bola Tinubu to postpone foreign trips. A diplomatic row between South Africa and the United States has intensified ahead of this weekend's G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg. President Cyril Ramaphosa has signaled that Pretoria will now not conduct a planned formal handover of the G20 chairmanship to U.S. diplomats at the end of his summit. The U.S. will host next year's gathering, the BBC's Mayeni Jones reports.
The US used to be one of South Africa's main Western partners, but over the last year they've really fallen out. And that's because President Donald Trump has repeated widely discredited claims that there is a genocide of South Africa's white minority. He's offered them asylum. They're the only minority group who is entitled to asylum currently in the US. And he's also expelled South Africa's ambassador. He's cut aid. He's imposed tariffs. South Africa, in response, has tried to remain diplomatic. But the recent events suggest that this relationship is not getting much better.
Various women's rights organizations in South Africa will today stage a national shutdown in protest against alarming levels of gender-based violence. Addressing delegates at the G20 Social Summit yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa warned the country is in the grip of a GBV crisis. He echoed NUMSA, Women for Change and other women advocacy groups who have heightened the fight against gender-based violence and femicide, GBVF. Today's shutdown is spearheaded by Women for Change, a non-profit organization advocating for the constitutional rights of South African women and children. NUMSA's national spokesperson Pagamile Hlubi-Majola says the scourge of GBVF needs to be eradicated immediately.
According to the statistics which were released by the South African Police Services, over 5,000 murders that were recorded, which are averaging 62 per day. Of those killed, 837 are women. And basically, if you break that down, it comes to 9 women being murdered a day. At the same time, we've got very, very high levels of sexual violence against children. And it's very clear to us that we are in a crisis. We have noted that the president has declared gender-based violence as a national crisis. We're interested to hear more details about what that will mean in a practical sense.
Lastly, amid rising humanitarian needs in Ethiopia's Amhara region, Lalibela, a town famous for its 12th century rock-hewn churches, has regained access to safe water tanks to the largest solar-powered water project by the International Committee of the Red Cross in Africa. The new system will provide reliable water to an estimated 77,000 residents, addressing shortages caused by years of conflict and unreliable power supply. The communications coordinator for the ICRC in Ethiopia, Stephen Anderson, explains.
So for the people, it was almost impossible to have proper, reliable access to water. So with the authorities, over 3 years ago, it was decided that the ICRC would help with installing a water system that is basically functioning on solar energy, because the power supply was the main problem actually for having this function. We had good support, notably from the German government, who financed this project at 50%. After intense works and a difficult period, we were able to inaugurate this new system this week in Lalibela itself.
Recapping on your top stories, Nigeria's High Court has convicted detained separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu on terrorism charges and has sentenced him to life imprisonment. The verdict was read in his absence after the leader of the outlawed organization, the Indigenous People of Biafra, was ejected from the court after repeated interruptions. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Happy Friday. We're in the second hour of On the Move. You're tuned in to Channel Africa, and no matter where you are in the world, this is the right place to be if you're in search of that African perspective. So come on, do join us. You can listen live on www.channelafrica.co.za. Go in there, search in our website. It's beautiful, it's brand new, and it's definitely very entertaining. You can also find us on our audio bouquets, DSTV 802 and OpenView 628, as well as the SABC Plus app. We're going to the second hour of the show. And you know what? If you think about the word Nigeria and entertainment, you know that they've been making huge waves around the world. I'm speaking about Nollywood back in the day, the movies. I'm speaking about Afro beats, the music, and even these days, the fashion. So there's a lot to look forward to when you speak about the Nigerian entertainment industry. One that's also really making waves now is their skits, their comedy skits online, and that's what we'll be focusing on today. This online comedy skits economy that is booming in Nigeria. We're finding out exactly how it is. We're examining how this skit economy is emerging, how it works, and why it's become such a powerful force in Nigeria's creative sector. Stay with us right here on The Move for that.
Hey man, there's so many ways you can stay in touch with Channel Africa. Remember, you can find us at Channel Africa 1. In fact, we are still live on that live stream. So if you want to check us out on YouTube, we use that particular handle at Channel Africa 1. We make it easy for you. We're using that handle that you can find us anywhere in the different platforms on social media. So use that handle on TikTok, use that handle on X, use that handle everywhere. You will find Channel Africa there.
This weekend, South Africa will host the G20 Summit at the Nazareth Expo Center near Soweto. And Channel Africa will be right there to bring you live updates, interviews, and real-time insights from the main venue. And so, our regular lineup will be adjusted just a little bit for this weekend to accommodate the G20. On Saturday, the 22nd of November, the Oasis will broadcast for 2 hours. Out and About takes a break for a full look at the G20. After Africa Chart Toppers, our news and current affairs team will bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages directly from Nazareth, and more will resume at 8 p.m. Central African Time. And then on Sunday, the 23rd of November, the Oasis will also broadcast for 2 hours. Tech Africa steps aside for our news and current affairs teams to bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages. Then, Planting the Seed resumes from 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Central African Time. Channel Africa, your window to the continent, connecting you to the world in an African perspective.
Every voice matters. Every moment counts. Celebrate life with Channel Africa. The African perspective. Now in your pocket. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
One thing we know about Africans is that we know that we are very creative. We know that we are extremely talented. And when you think about Nigeria and you think about their creative industries, you speak about Afro beats, their music, their fashion. Oh my goodness, I love Nigerian fashion so much. Think about old Nollywood movies, the ones that went all over the world, that had us all looking closely to our screens. Social media is also building up as one of those economies that have become at the forefront of the industries here in the African continent, but particularly in Nigeria, as short comedy videos, also known as skits, circulating on social media, have created a booming industry in Nigeria for the past couple of years. And we're looking at this phenomenon that represents more than just a major new entertainment thread. It's highlighting the ingenuity of young Nigerians in using technology to create livelihoods and influence culture. And in the process, they contribute to the national economic growth. Today, we're looking at the skit economy of Nigeria. And, we're speaking about this as we look at the rise of an industry chronicled by a 2024 book titled The Skit Economy by someone who's joining us today, entrepreneurship scholar and polling guru, Bell Ihua. His work is supported by findings from the African Polling Institute, speaking about the skit economy of Nigeria. Bell, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, Professor, we are so happy to have you this morning. This is interesting. As we were talking about this particular conversation before we brought you in, Ben and I were speaking about what exactly a skit is. Because we remember back in the Nollywood days, the likes of Mr. Ibu that really had all of Africa, and here in South Africa as well, grappled to our TV screens, buying DVDs at the movie stores, making sure that we're catching up on all episodes. So maybe let's start there. For someone who's well researched in this particular sector, what makes a skit different from a movie? What is a skit?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. Well, I think you've answered it. A skit is a short extract from a long creative content or creative material that's intended to either pass a message or make the audience laugh or make the audience, giggle or smile. So it's a very short extract, usually from a longer, production. And you rightly said it. How it started was initially people would cut out clips from Nollywood videos or from music and put them online and, create just funny memes out of them and people laugh. But then people began to see that this was interesting and this was, going viral and getting likes and getting viewership. And those viewership can ultimately be translated to resources, to money. And people thought, okay, we should actually not just be cutting existing clips, we should be producing newer clips and putting up. So for that 1 minute or 30 seconds clip that you see that makes you laugh, there is a whole economy around them. And that was the idea for, writing the book, The Skit Economy. So there's an economy around that. For that 1 minute or 30 seconds skit you see, there's a cameraman, there's a boom mic, there's a producer, there's someone that does costume, there's someone that, would edit. Ultimately, there's someone who will put it online, there's someone who will help monetize. So the whole ecosystem around that creates what we call the skit economy.
It's interesting that you use the word ecosystem. That means there is an infrastructure that's actually built around something that could actually just take like 3 to 5 minutes to see online or even less, right? Could you tell us a little bit about how this has developed into such a serious industry in Nigeria? Because it seems like a lot of money is being poured into these.
Well, thank you very much. The skits ecosystem is a subset of the wider creative or entertainment, or what we now call the content creation ecosystem, which spans comedy, film, music, art, travel and tourism, fashion, talk show, podcast, you name it. The beauty of it is that there was what you call the audience for it. So when we conducted our research at Africa Polling Institute, the think tank which I head, we found out that 67% of Nigeria's population say they watch comedy skits. So that is already a huge market for comedy skits. And if 67% of the population will watch this, it means there was money to be made from it. So looking at data, or putting that in perspective, as of 2020, I think it was PwC that put Nigeria's entertainment sector at $6.7 billion, with anticipation that it was going to grow to about $15 billion by 2025. Now, the Nigeria's skit economy or skit sector within that bigger subsector is set to worth around $30 to $35 million alone. And this is from whether you're talking about the jobs that is being created or monetization or the income that the entrepreneurs are earning. So yes, it's part of a wider ecosystem, but we've seen it growing in leaps and bounds since 2017, 2018. Of course, COVID blew it because people were home, bored, not doing much, and they were looking for ways to keep themselves entertained and keep themselves busy. They resorted to going on their phones to watch these skits, and the skits went haywire.
Absolutely. I want to break this down, this skit economy, to the creator themselves, the creator that we see on our phones, the creator we see on our social media platforms. Because if I'm comparing this to a similar form of entertainment, being the Nollywood movies that were longer form, back in the day, we used to buy the DVDs and then we'd see them on TV, and then we'd watch the movies on TV. We'd also be able to purchase them, and that was direct sales towards the creator. But these days, you can have, 10,000 people watching your skit. That doesn't particularly mean it's a direct sale. How are the creators monetizing the skits?
Okay, well, it's interesting because there are several revenue streams when it comes to this whole skit economy. So, first of all, we must say that the rise of the digital era and social media platforms like YouTube, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, Snapchat, played a huge role in, making sure that this becomes possible, that there were platforms readily looking for content such that if content were put on those platforms and there was a viewership for that, those content will ultimately be monetized and, be turned to income for whoever created or produced those content. But in terms of money revenue streams, one, we've seen monetization on social media platforms like YouTube, like Facebook, and the rest. So a very successful, content creator can earn up to $20,000 to $40,000 per month. Wow. Making content. While those who are really successful, the big ones, are said to earn up to $1 million per annum. But of course, this is tied to the quality of your video and how viral it goes, such that maybe over 100 million people or 50 million people view it, like it, enjoy it, then you get that. That's what monetization is effect. The second is ads. When these content creators become popular and become big, brands or businesses or individuals or whoever has information to put out there, engage them to help them put out those information. So ads or sponsored posts, as they're called, can cost up to 3 to 5 million per post, and in some cases up to 10 million naira in Nigerian terms now per post. So that's another way to make money. But the third way is brand ambassadorship. These guys, have become now social influencers of some sorts, and brands will begin to call them to hold ambassadorship or endorsements in such brands. So they make money from that. Sometimes, because they are now known figures, they are invited to participate in films, in movies, and other times they even gain their own strength to begin to produce their own movies on the back of the work that they've done. And lastly, sometimes they charge for live appearances. So you can pay as much as 20 million, 30 million to have one of these, the very top ones, attend your program, and you can market that program on the back of the fact that this fellow, I don't want to call any names now, but this fellow is going to attend my event. And people say, wow, he's going to attend your event, we will be there. So live appearances, they also earn money. So these are the various ways they earn money, but it's a very opaque system.
Mm-hmm. Professor,
because of tax issues and all of that,
sure.
they don't really want to tell you, but we know from our research the kind of ranges that they earn from these various streams.
Sorry to stop you there, Professor. We need to take a bit of a break, but I want you to speak to us around those opaque areas of payment, of receiving payment, but also the possibilities therein, because it seems like also there's a sense of ownership from the content creators themselves. But we'll speak about those issues after the break. We're speaking to Professor Bell Ihua, entrepreneurship scholar and executive director at the Africa Polling Institute. Seems like content creators are making money in Nigeria, man.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Manela, what is the meaning of IDK?
I don't know.
Do you ever know anything? Olodo, anything they ask you, I don't know. I don't know. Yes! You are going to school for nothing. Manela, what is the meaning of...
I love that one.
I used to love Emmanuel. I think she was one of the first skit makers that, became popular in Nigeria.
Yeah. Wonderful one there. But we're speaking about comedy skit makers and how there is kind of an economy running around them, but also how they're also creating that economy themselves. But it's also contributing to Nigeria's entertainment industry. And helping us on this discussion, we joined by Professor Bell Ihua, an entrepreneurship scholar and executive director at the Africa Polling Institute, and also wrote a big book around this particular issue titled The Skit Economy. Professor, coming back to what you wanted to address before the break was that fact that, there is an opaque system on payments, on the whole financial infrastructure side of how these creators are operating. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, thanks again. As I said, there is an opaque system because, the content creators do not want you to know exactly how much they earn because of tax issues. Again, because they receive very little to no support from government to, hone their craft and to put out their works. And of course, they face certain challenges in the system. So when that happens, they do not want to reveal, how much they are making. We can only make estimations. We know that, for example, a sponsored post costs between 3 to 5 million on average, but the very big boys can charge up to 10, sometimes more million naira for that. We also know that doing the math, that a successful skit maker makes between 20 to 40,000. The big boys, I just saw you put the clip of Mark Angel there and Emanuela. Mm-hmm. They are part of the, what do you call the first generation of the A-League, and they're making up to over $1 million per annum. So we can only make these conjectures based on our analysis, but because of the opaque nature, we cannot tell specifically because they like to keep their incomes private.
For someone who's looking into this, where do you see this economy heading? Because, social media is big right now. Technology will continue to be big. But there's also something quite fickle about social media because trends come in and out. I'm not saying that comedy will ever run out of business, because we do need to laugh as a people and we love to laugh as a people. But which direction is the skit economy headed?
Well, in my book, I had predicted that it was going to grow geometrically. But what I've seen that it has even surpassed geometric progression because there are trends that are driving this whole thing. For example, I tell you what, if you want to get into the skit space or the content creation space, for example, look for something novel, something original, something fresh. If you think you've seen it all in the skits sector, just wait a little while. You see someone that will put out another creative content that will bust you out and will let you know that you ain't seen nothing yet. So as long as the originality, the novelty, the freshness continues, you still continue to see work. That's one. Secondly, is you have to understand your niche. There are so many niches in this space now, whether you want to do the classic just for laughs, traditional comedy, or you want to take it into pranks, or you want to do movie extracts. There are those who are relationship experts. There are those who are blind date experts. There are those whose comedy is based on loyalty tests. There are those who just do confessions or conflict resolutions.
Yeah.
There are those who do talk shows. There are those who do philanthropy, just going out to help people. So having a niche, understanding your niche and specializing in your niche. Then another trend is having multiple characters. We've seen that as a skit maker, comedy skit maker, having just a single character may not be the best. You must know how to have multiple characters. If you see an artist like Lasisi Elenu, for example, he has several characters. He has Lasisi, the young ranter. He has Mama Lasisi, Itoha, Anayo, Sinzu Money, the Yahoo boy, Barrister, Atomic Bomb, Dr. Coca, Zadi, and all of that. You see someone like Brain Jota. He has Brain Jota himself. He has Pastor Jota of Church of Shakomotele, Kopa Preku. You see Tao, she has the same. So as a creative, you must be able to have different, characters. You must be able to play different characters. You see also that there's also a role of recognition from major online social influencers. So your work has not gained significance if, for example, a Tunde Ednut or a Don Jazzy or a Very Dark Man VDM has not posted your work. So there is a role for social influencers. Then there's also the socio-political relevance and timeliness. Now, we had a recent issue in Nigeria where a minister was engaged with a military officer, and the next day, so many skits, comedians turned that into skits. That should just tell you that there is also the issue about the social relevance, the social timeliness of that can drive a trend and make sure that your video goes viral when you put it out. Then, of course, you have the giveaways, people who, as part of their skits, say, I'm going to give out call cards, today, 50 people, just give me your account, I'm going to do giveaways. It also drives the whole process. Then, of course, you have things like partnership, clustering, those who work within clusters, and mentorship. So there are nuances to this. So, for example, what you put on Facebook is different from, or the audience that consumes on Facebook is different from the audience that consumes on Instagram, and totally different from the audience that consumes, on other platforms like X or Snapchat, for example. So you have much of the younger generation, the Gen Zs, operating within the Snapchats and all of that, while you have the older generation still on Facebook. You have more of the mid-range on Instagram, and you have a mix on YouTube. So understanding a bit of the demography and how to really engage them, plays a huge role in some of this.
Well, Professor, such an insightful conversation, especially when it comes to something that can be seen just in a light-hearted way. But behind it seems like there is a lot of work and a lot of money being actually made there. So it's encouraging to hear that from you. Where can we get your book, Professor Ihuwa?
It's online. It's on Amazon. If you just Google Skit Economy on Amazon, you find it, and I believe it delivers everywhere in the world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us here on Channel Africa.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That's Professor Bell Ihuwa, entrepreneurship scholar and executive director at the Africa Polling Institute, but also the author of The Skit Economy. We need to now create skits.
Hey, Benji.
Did you hear those millions?
Are you even funny?
Those millions.
Are you even funny, sir?
Those millions.
Money.
Did you hear about those millions?
It's 10:31 Central Africa time. Let's get our latest sports news with Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you so much, Palesa. Very good morning once again from the sports desk. So the South Africa's Proteas Test bowling coach Pete Botha has revealed that Simbola Kagiso Rabada will face a telling 24 hours to determine his participation in the second test match against India that is starting tomorrow in Guwahati. Now, Rabada missed the first test in Kolkata with a rib injury he suffered in training, with Corbin Bosch stepping in at Eden Gardens and also proving his worth with crucial runs down the order in a 30-run win over India last weekend. Botha says Rabada did not train on Thursday morning.
Rabada still being monitored by our medical staff. Obviously wasn't at practice today, but I'll make a call in the next 24 hours. As far as the pitch is concerned, obviously I had a look at it this morning, still 2 days out, so it's difficult to predict if they're going to actually cut more grass off or not.
Now, some positive news out of the sick bay, the sick bay rather, is that Simon Harmer, who was awarded the player of the match in Kolkata, is fit to play after a shoulder scare earlier on in the week.
In terms of his fitness, he's fine. He bowled today at nets, no problems there. And obviously, if the ball spins as early as it did in the last test, then a majority of the Indian batting lineup are left-handers. That brings him into a game a lot. And also, we balance him quite out nicely with Keshav. He can bowl to the right-handers. You've got Rahul out in the first innings, which was a big wicket for us.
On to this now. The Confederation of African Football, through its Safety as well as Security Division and in collaboration with the local organising committee, have launched a comprehensive training program across Morocco. This in preparation for the Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations tournament. Now, the training aims to equip participants with a comprehensive understanding of CAF's operational safety as well as security requirements, while also providing a platform for the local organising committee in understanding exactly how the security aspects of this year's tournament will work and what is then needed. Now, the training brings together key officials as well as commanders responsible for the security as well as the emergency operations in each of the host cities. These includes those overseeing venue safety as well as security, police forces, police escorts, fire brigades, airport, as well as traffic security. For the field now, a 7-week break is built into this year's major soccer league calendar to permit players to compete at the FIFA World Cup next year. Now, the 2026 World Cup schedule released on Thursday showed MLS will pause from the 25th of May, which is FIFA's mandatory player reporting date, until the 16th of July to accommodate the 48-team tournament, which the USA is co-hosting with the likes of Canada and Mexico. So the World Cup kicks off in June of next year. That's the 11th of June, with the final set for the 19th of July. Now, the 7-week break is considerably longer than the past World Cup breaks, which are totaled 2 weeks back in 2010 and in 2014, 9 days in 2018, while the MLS season did not overlap with the 2022 World Cup, which was staged in Qatar from November until December. And finally, in Formula One news now, Max Verstappen has his eye on former teammate Daniel Ricciardo's old race car number if he has to relinquish the Champions One next season. So Red Bull's 4-time world champion raced with the 33 before he took his first title back in 2021 with a plenty of numbered merchandise sold. But he told Dutch reporters in Las Vegas in the USA that he really wanted the Australian's number 3. A change in the rules yet to be approved means drivers will no longer have to stick with the same number through their careers, but Ricciardo remains technically unavailable despite him announcing his retirement. Now, the rules say a driver must not have raced for 2 consecutive seasons before the number can be reassigned. Ricciardo raced in Singapore in September last year. And that's a wrap from the sports desk at the Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Call us as well on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with the final sports update for the morning in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Le monde entier a les yeux rivés sur Johannesburg. Les dirigeants des plus grandes économies mondiales se réunissent pour prendre des décisions qui façonneront les nations, les marchés et l'avenir. Vous savez déjà que Channel Africa sera sur place pour vous proposer des débats, des analyses et des points de vue essentiels. Suivez le sommet du G20 les 22 et 23 novembre en direct de l'Afrique. Restez connectés sur Channel Africa.
Thank you, Musibudi, for that sports update. Let's get our latest in business with Bontle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa. Good morning. Our top story this hour: China has signed a $1.4 billion agreement with Zambia and Tanzania to modernize the Tazara railway linking landlocked Zambia to the Indian Ocean. The railway, financed by China in the 1970s to facilitate copper exports and fuel imports through Tanzania, remains a crucial trade route and is widely seen as countering the US and EU-backed Lobito Corridor, a route from Angola through Zambia to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The agreement was signed during a visit to Zambia by Chinese Premier Li Qiang, the first such visit in 28 years, at a time when Africa's second largest copper producer is emerging from a financial crisis. Qiang says the refurbishment cements relations between China and Africa.
We should strengthen infrastructure connectivity, consolidating railway, roads, ports, and other infrastructure to build multi-modal transport corridor and a modern logistics system. On the other hand, we should strengthen institutional connectivity concerning customs, commodity inspection, and taxes to promote greater facilitation of trade and investment. Looking into the future, China-Africa cooperation enjoys vast prospects.
The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, says it's unacceptable that it costs African countries 20% more to trade with each other than with nations outside the continent. Speaking at the annual Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Okonjo-Iweala says Africa has not benefited fully from the multilateral trading system and remains poorly integrated into global markets. She also called for the introduction of an African visa to help cut the costs of doing business across borders and boost trade within the continent.
We must continue the battle. And that's what makes me wake up every day, because we have not benefited enough on the African continent. We cannot allow the ladder that allowed others to climb up to be kicked away just when we are getting ready. We must battle for it.
South Africa's G20 presidency is termed Africa's G20. As the 2025 G20 chair, South Africa is said to be well positioned to champion the priorities of emerging markets and elevate Africa's development agenda within the G20 framework. In the discussions ahead of this week's G20 Leaders Summit, the president of the Pan-African Parliament, Chief Fortune Charumbira, has called on the continent to be united in order to advance a coordinated platform for continental engagement at the G20 summit, especially because the world is now starting to recognize Africa as a key element of the global economic architecture.
You can't leave out Africa. Africa is now the continent of the future. It's a recognition that this is the continent of the future. You can no longer regard Africa as a backward continent which doesn't matter. And the fact that Africa enjoys the largest population of the youth for the future. And those youth from Africa will also influence the economic dynamics across the world.
Meanwhile, Germany's ambassador to South Africa, Andreas Petschke, has reaffirmed Europe's commitment to strengthening its strategic partnership with South Africa as President Cyril Ramaphosa met with EU leadership yesterday. Speaking at the SAEU trilateral engagement in Sandton, Petschke said top EU leaders, including European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa, have already arrived in Johannesburg, with Germany's Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor expected shortly.
Yeah, first of all, we are, of course, all very happy that we have come here for the G20 summit. So the two EU leaders, President von der Leyen, President Costa, are already here. The German Chancellor is going to come soon. The Vice Chancellor is going to come soon. So we are all here supporting South Africa for the G20 summit.
Britain's borrowing in the first 7 months of the financial year was the highest on record, except during the COVID pandemic. This is according to data from the Office for National Statistics that lays bare the scale of the challenge facing Finance Minister Rachel Reeves in her budget next week. Government borrowing between April and October totaled $152.9 billion, over $13 billion more than forecasts by analysts. And now taking a look at the indicators, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,453 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 47. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 97. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 86. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 33. Russia, 80 rubles 30. In India, it's 88 rupees 66. China, 7 yuan 10, and South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 20 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 76 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,060 per ounce, platinum at $1,501 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $62.47 a barrel. And those are your business news. I'll be back with the final update in the next hour. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. This weekend, South Africa will host the G20 summit at the Nazareth Expo Center near Soweto. And Channel Africa will be right there to bring you live updates, interviews, and real-time insights from the main venue. And so, our regular lineup will be adjusted just a little bit for this weekend to accommodate the G20. On Saturday, the 22nd of November, the Oasis will broadcast for 2 hours. Out and About takes a break for a full look at the G20. After Africa Chart Toppers, our news and current affairs team will bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages directly from Nazareth. And normal programming will resume at 8 p.m. Central African Time. And then on Sunday, the 23rd of November, the Oasis will also broadcast for 2 hours. Tech Africa steps aside for our news and current affairs teams to bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages. Then, Planting the Seed resumes from 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Central African Time. Channel Africa, your window to the continent, connecting you to the world in an African perspective. 9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
sithandwa sami kungenxa yami mina ngiyavuma iphutha ngelami bengenza kangcono sithandwa sami ayihlale phansi ibamba umthetho sithandwa sami mina ngiyavuma iphutha ngelami futhi bengenza kangcono limele kubuhlungu ngizokhala kuzabani na khona nje na mina ngilimele kubuhlungu ngizokhala sabele bani na ulimele kubuhlungu ngizokhala kuzabani na sengeza mina ngilimele kubuhlungu ngizokhala sabele bani na
Hangilimele Mawu featuring Deep Sen, King Toxin and Mtunzi there, taking us to 48 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. We've been speaking about the skit economy. We have one here in South Africa. But when I look at how the Nigerians are leveraging off it, it's very different, right? Seems like there's a larger network in that business. Yes, it does happen here in South Africa. I think it happens in the form of content creators that are more kind of serious content. But it is happening in a smaller scale here in South Africa, but not as big like in Nigeria.
No, the scale is definitely smaller, but we do have some favorite skit makers here in South Africa. I think the influencers here definitely look at another direction. But in terms of like comedy skits in particular, there aren't as many as there are in Nigeria. But hey, I love the fact that, young people are seeing new ways to build their economy, new ways to make an income. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to live in, but it's also beautiful to see how they're monetizing it. Government support is something that is still a very, very new conversation. They do need government support. I mean, remember we were having a conversation about the influencers.
Gets involved,
governments want to tax influencers. So you have to you can't tax what you don't support. So government support is necessary because they have their own just the ecosystem is run completely by them. The other entertainment industry do have, I guess, recognition and regulations from the government, and regulations do bring support because that means that this is what we're providing and this is what you're providing, and thereby their regulations. But influencer economies are not as regulated, and social media economies aren't as regulated as yet.
I hope we're not saying regulation in terms of over-regulating the content creators themselves and how they're benefiting from the work that they're doing, and maybe finding other avenues of empowering them, enlarging their net worth. Hopefully that's what we're talking about there, because sometimes when government does get involved, then things get tricky.
Yeah, well, things are going to get tricky because if there's money involved, government is definitely going to be involved. It's 10:51 Central Africa time. What's your take on the skit economy? Also, do you have your favorite skit influencers on social media? Let us know who they are. We also want to check them out, have a good laugh this weekend as we scroll through the socials and check out your favorite skit comedy makers on social media.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu maswala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika. Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
My doctor tells me I'm in need of your medicine. I need your love and I need you, I need everything. Love will go love me past, love will go take you last. I need your love and I'm promising you everything. Whoa. Finally spoke my mind, say you they listen, yeah. Show me the doors to your heart, baby, I'm breaking in, yeah. Finally spoke my mind, say you they listen, yeah. Show me the doors to your heart, baby, I'm breaking in, yeah. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm in love with it for you now. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm in love with it for you now. Been away for a long time now, and I'm thinking about us. Cause you know we got something special, girl, and they can't do it like us now. I've been watching you, ain't no skips and no rewind. Follow me outside, yeah. I remember the last time I found you slow. Gotta keep my feelings in control. I know you run and tell my secrets. Soon as we done and that's wicked. I don't know I found you slow. Gotta keep my feelings in control. Last time we sit together, you're my home. I'ma block the other girls on my phone. Only you, only you. Finally spoke my mind. Say you they listen, yeah. Show me the doors to your heart, baby, I'm breaking it, yeah. Finally spoke my mind. Say you they listen, yeah. Show me the doors to your heart, baby, I'm breaking it, yeah.
Hey, that's Nonso Amadi with a very smooth foreigner. Taking us to 56 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. Today we're moving into the third hour of the show and looking forward to this one. I'm a big fan of Mafigi Zolo. I've always said to Pali in different moments, I'm like, they're probably the most enduring.
Yeah, no,
groups.
absolutely.
One of the most enduring groups in South Africa.
And not just enduring in the sense that they've been here for a long time, but also they keep, they keep reinventing themselves. And so it always feels fresh. So they've been here for a long time, but it never feels stale. It never feels like, okay, Mafigizolo from the 90s, the same Mafigizolo of today. It might be some of the same people in the group, but the way they keep reinventing themselves, almost like they're scholars of music, because they understand what's going on, they understand the trends, and then they move. They keep the core of who they are. So you still listen to a Mafigizolo song and say, yeah, this is Mafigizolo. But you can hear how they've reincorporated the new with their core style, and they're so good at that. They're so good at reinventing themselves.
I mean, there was a time when Mafikizolo was collaborating with a Nigerian artist. And everybody asked the question, why is Mafikizolo doing something with an Afrobeat artist? And that was before everyone else actually
started doing
that direction. So they were the first actually for me, when they saw that possibility, right? And then we all started seeing the flames of what Afrobeat was. So I think they're able to think ahead, but we're not going to have Mafikizolo in studio. We're actually going to have one of their founding members, Nhlanhla Mafu, who's got a wonderful career of her own. But she's so diverse, not just in her music abilities, but she's a fashion pioneer in her own way. So looking forward to expanding. How does she differentiate all these portfolios that she holds with her two hands? Her creative reach has been one that has gone not just from a sense of one dimensions. She's been able to have a career that's kind of multifaceted, and she's amazing.
But we love her most for her music. I love her most for her music. And
I love her for her looks.
Yeah.
I mean, she is probably one of the most fashionable people I've ever seen. Like, even on stage, how she keeps reinventing herself on stage with her looks. It's incredible.
Well, she has a brand new single that she's going to be launching, and it's titled Ingabayam, and she's going to be telling us about this brand new single, and we're looking forward to hearing the music as well. So look, it's definitely going to be an exciting final hour that you have to look forward to. Join us on our live stream. In fact, go there now, because Nhlanhla is going to be in the studio. The same way you get to see us on the stream in the studio, she'll be here sitting on one of these chairs in our studios. So head on over there. We are on Facebook, Channel Africa, and we are Channel Africa 1 on YouTube. You get to see what we're up to here in the studio this Friday and have fun with us. But you can also interact with us on our socials at Channel Africa 1. We're on X, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, we are there. We are Channel Africa. Let's get our latest news with Onele Nsinzi.
Global leaders, African insights. Follow the G20 summit with Channel Africa as it happens.
SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Looking at your top stories, convicted detained separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu sentenced to life imprisonment in Nigeria. And a diplomatic growth between South Africa and the United States intensifies. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Nigeria's High Court has convicted detained separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu on terrorism charges and has sentenced him to life imprisonment. The verdict was read in his absence after the leader of the outlawed organization, the Indigenous People of Biafra, was ejected from the court after repeated interruptions. The court said it was satisfied that Kanu had made a series of broadcasts to incite violence and killings as part of his campaign for a separate state in southeast Nigeria, known as the Biafra. Kanu, who's been in prison since 2021, has denied all the charges. Nigerian authorities have shut schools in 5 districts in central Kwara State, fearing they could be targets of armed gangs after a deadly attack on a church in the state earlier this week. Nigeria has witnessed a spate of attacks by gunmen, including the kidnapping on Monday of 25 schoolgirls from a boarding school in northwestern Kebbi State. This has placed a spotlight on insecurity and has forced President Bola Tinubu to postpone any foreign trips. A diplomatic row between South Africa and the United States has intensified ahead of this weekend's G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg. President Cyril Ramaphosa has signaled that Pretoria will now not conduct a planned formal handover of the G20 chairmanship to the U.S. diplomats at the end of the summit. The U.S. will host next year's gathering, the BBC's Mayeni Jones reports.
The US used to be one of South Africa's main Western partners, but over the last year they've really fallen out. And that's because President Donald Trump has repeated widely discredited claims that there is a genocide of South Africa's white minority. He's offered them asylum. They're the only minority group who is entitled to asylum currently in the US. And he's also expelled South Africa's ambassador. He's cut aid. He's imposed tariffs. South Africa, in response, has tried to remain diplomatic, but the recent events suggest that this relationship is not getting much better.
Various women's rights organizations in South Africa will today stage a national shutdown in protest against alarming levels of gender-based violence. Addressing delegates at the G20 Social Summit yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa warned that the country is on the grip of a GBV crisis. He echoed NUMSA, Women for Change and other women advocacy groups who've heightened the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. Today's shutdown is spearheaded by Women for Change, a non-profit organization advocating for the constitutional rights of South African women and children. NUMSA's national spokesperson Phakamile Hlobi-Majola says the scourge of GBVF needs to be eradicated immediately.
According to the statistics which were released by the South African Police Services, over 5,000 murders that were recorded, which are averaging 62 per day. Of those killed, 837 are women. And basically, if you break that down, it comes to 9 women being murdered a day. At the same time, we've got very, very high levels of sexual violence against children. And it's very clear to us that we are in a crisis. We have noted that the president has declared gender-based violence as a national crisis. We're interested to hear more details about what that will mean in a practical sense.
Lastly, the U.S. Health Agency has altered language on its website to be less categorical on the prevalent scientific consensus that vaccines do not cause autism. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention now says studies have not ruled out that possibility. Dr. Fiona Havers, a former senior scientist at the CDC who recently resigned in June, says this new development might discourage parents from vaccinating their children.
To have this on a CDC website is actually pretty shocking. What we do know is that routine immunizations are safe, they're effective, and they're the best tools we have for keeping both adults and children healthy. And RFK Jr. forcing CDC to put this kind of information on the website is going to further scare parents, scare people, and we're going to see a drop in vaccination rates, which will cost lives.
Recapping on your top stories, Nigeria's High Court has convicted detained separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu on terrorism charges and has sentenced him to life imprisonment. The verdict was read in his absence after the leader of the outlawed organization, the Indigenous People of Biafra, was ejected from the court after repeated interruptions. Now, for any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Oneli Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa, The African Perspective.
Hey, this is the third hour of On the Move, and we're going to keep going, and we're going to be hanging out with a lady of style, but of great musical sensibility, but also genre bending in many ways. Not just a musician, a businesswoman, a creative director, and also founding member of Mafigi Zolo Nhlanhla Mafu will be joining us in studio today. We're going to be speaking about her latest adventures in music, but also how does she dabble all these things around? How does she make sure that she's able to just keep going? But also, there must be a secret to this durable, long-lasting career of hers. It's fantastic, isn't it?
No, it really is incredible. We don't all have the same 24 hours, I must say, because if I have the same 24 hours as Tata Mafu, I'm definitely not doing enough with my day. She is certainly quite a talent, but she also is moving in different ways when it comes to her music, and today she's debuting a brand new single that she has out titled Ingaba Yami, and I cannot wait to hear it. I love new music, and if you love music just like we do, this is the right place to be, because we love to give you new music right here on Friday. So stay with us, go and join our live stream really quickly. Nhlanhla Mafu is on her way to the studio, and she'll be here in a couple of minutes to chat to us for some time in this hour of the show. Channel Africa is where you find us on Facebook, Channel Africa 1 on YouTube. That's where our streams are, but on our all social media platforms, that's where you can engage us and let us know what you think, ask questions, be with us. You're part of this family. In fact, you're the most important part of this team right here on The Move at Channel Africa 1 on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads.
What keeps you up at night? Can't answer, darling. Always remember, you are a diamond light. You are a diamond light, the love of your life. Mare one utsepile man, one untuipele show. When your whole world was around you and all the love surround you, thought that they'd always be there. What do you want from me? What do you take from me when all I had was me? Why do you lie to me? Why do you hide from me? Shine, shine your light, shine your Mare one utsepile man, one untuipele show. When your whole world was around you and all the love surround you, thought that they'd always be
Hey, that's Mpho Sabina sounding beautiful there. That one is sounding so incredible indeed. And that one's titled Tsepo, taking us to 10 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time.
Channel Africa is evolving, and so are you. Stay connected wherever you are with our brand new website and mobile app. Stream your favorite shows, catch up on African news, culture, and conversations, all at your fingertips.
Africa is just a tap away.
Your world, your stories, now on the go.
Stay connected wherever you are.
Visit channelafrica.co.za or download the Channel Africa app today. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
This weekend, South Africa will host the G20 summit at the Nazareth Expo Center near Soweto. And Channel Africa will be right there to bring you live updates, interviews, and real-time insights from the main venue. And so, our regular lineup will be adjusted just a little bit for this weekend to accommodate the G20. On Saturday, the 22nd of November, the Oasis will broadcast for 2 hours. Out and About takes a break for for a look at the G20. After Africa Chart Toppers, our news and current affairs team will bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages directly from Nasrec. And normal programming will resume at 8 p.m. Central African Time. And then on Sunday, the 23rd of November, the Oasis will also broadcast for 2 hours. Tech Africa steps aside for our news and current affairs teams to bring you special live broadcasts in 5 different languages. Then, Planting the Seed resumes from 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Central African Time. Channel Africa, your window to the continent, connecting you to the world in an African perspective.
Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
Safe, I raised the bar, amazing grace. I praise the Lord, Versace store. The world is yours, we're not this all, we're not this all. Paparazzi wanna put a happy on. Trashy in the cup with a camera phone. Every time we in the club, it's a family show. Take the trophy on, we the champions, 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 champions. Always knew you'd be on top again. Super mega, he on top again. Couple dollies in the cup for the ambiance. But you wildin', bout to call you a maxi home. It's a classic night, Friday action night. Paid the price for everything that we sacrificed. For the bragging rights, I deserve this life. It's a perfect time to keep my circle tight. Fuck the flashing lights, fuck the plastic life. What's the verdict when I pull up at the traffic light? Who got the juice? Who got the juice? Somebody make me off, I can't confuse. The summer we on some other, let's act the fool. Do numbers like Cool China, we're absolute. Yeah. What it look like? Every time we pull up, it's a good time. All a good time like good wine. Record labels acting like Suge Knight. Keep it outside. Don't ever treat me like a Popeye. I got my niggas on standby. You gon' say hello to the bad guy. You played it safe, I raised the bar, amazing grace. I praise the Lord, Versace store. The world is yours, we're not this all, we're not this all. Paparazzi wanna put a happy on. Trashy in the cup with a camera phone. Every time we in the club, it's a family show. Take the trophy on, we the champions, 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 champions. Always knew you'd be on top again. Super mega, he on top again. These niggas pulling out weapons, trying to take shots at mega. Tell me what you know about pressure. You too busy worried about blessings. Smoking that shop right checkers. My impact is something you can't measure. Who went plat without a Vernac record? Let's talk facts and give me some damn credit. I got a few things in the cabinet. 5 gold rings like a champion. And I ain't gon' change, I'm a savage. Sippin' rosé with the family. What it look like? Every time we pull up, it's a good time. Killing my vibe, that's suicide. If I get the shoe size, kiss a goodbye. No need to worry about the news guy. Cause every story got 2 sides. We pop gold, you paid full price. For chillin' poolside and the blue sky. You played it safe, I raised the bar, amazing grace. I praise the Lord, Versace store. The world is yours, we're not this all, we're not this all. Paparazzi wanna put a happy on. Trashy in the cup with a camera phone. Every time we in the club, it's a family show. Take the trophy on, we the champions, 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 champions. Always knew you'd be on top again. Super mega, he on top again. Closer to my dreams, Fabella in my jeans. My nigga, please, the flow 100 degrees. You see the beams, I'm like a money machine. My legal team can stomach my Twitter feed. Hey. And ever since victory lap, it never felt this good to be bad. The powers that be is so mad, you ain't sick of me yet. But low key, they be giving me depth, that's how the game goes. Purple rain, all I see is rainbows. Remember days when I was fucking with lame hoes. I never changed my budget up, my chain gold. Let's celebrate, I'm pulling up with the same bros. How the saying goes, I paid the cost to be the boss, the main O. I'm in in the sauce, you in the dark, it's painful. Nobody got it like I got it where I came from. Cuban cigars up in your videos. Touch on my charms, touch on my millions. Who got the buzz, who got the spilly on? Don't let what you must, the real niggas know. You played it safe, I raised the bar. Amazing grace, I praise the Lord. Versace store, the world is yours. Monate so, paparazzi wanna put a happy on.
Hey, that's the Incredible, aka with one title, The World Is Yours. You're right here on Channel Africa. Thank you for joining us on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628. And remember, we're on www.channelafrica.co.za. The sensational.
Yes.
I think we can call her the diva, right? Our own South African diva, because I think divas kind of have a time span.
Yeah.
You know, they have like a longevity to it. And let me give you the more official terms that I should mention. She's a South African musician, businesswoman, creative director, founding member of one of the most fantastic groups in South Africa, Mafiki Zolo. Tlantla Mafu is joining us in studio today to unpack a little bit more about her life, her career, but we're going to go into her music and what she's all up to. She's also like big in fashion as well, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Tlantla, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much.
I was telling Bali, like, I'm like, you know, Bali, there's something about Tlantla that is amazing. She's a great singer, right? But every time you see her in any public place, it's like she woke up like this.
100%. You know what usually happens here, Ben? We've had so many artists come to the studio, right? And Ben is always flexing on me. He's like, oh, this one is from my hood. Now, guess what, Benji? This one is from my hood.
That's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. It's incredible to have you in studio. You have a story behind you. You have a story in front of you as well. And I was also saying, you know, not only has your career been quite resilient, but you continue to reinvent yourself. It doesn't feel like when you speak about the name Tlantla Mafu, you're speaking about something that was old. It's always new, it's always fresh, and it's always brand new. How do you do that?
Oh my goodness.
Give us your secrets. We also want to know.
I you know what? I don't think it's a secret at all. I think for me, it's really about working with young people. It's always been about working with young people. And I find that, you know, when you put the young and the old together, you know, like, and find a nice balance, that's how you keep current, you know. So I use that in my music and my fashion, in everything that I do, because I also believe in giving the young people a chance. You know what I mean? And they are incredible. They are amazing. And they've got all of these fresh ideas, you know. And that's something I personally learned from the late Ndate Brahim Masekela, who has always collaborated with us, you know, as young people, especially at the time. And that's how he, you know, he stood out amongst his peers, you know, amongst his age peers. So, yeah.
Well, it's been quite some time that you've had in the music industry. Of course, you have a brand new single today, but we're going to come to the single. Throughout the years that you've been in the industry, what are the ways that you felt you've grown the most? And I know you've been here for a very long time. So we learn, we grow, but we also continue to adjust, because a person is not just like one person forever. Absolutely. You're always sort of like going through the motions.
Absolutely.
With where you are today, what would you say has been your biggest lesson thus far?
I think for me personally, I would say I've grown in a sense that before, you know, when you write music and when you do things, you do them because, oh, this is out there, this is what's happening, and, you know, let me do that. And now it's more about I've learned how to you know, bring in my experiences into the things that I do, into my fashion, into my music. So what I sing about, it's not necessarily other people's experiences, but my own personal experiences. And I feel like right now I've never connected more with my music, you know, because it means something to me. It's not just about, oh, this is the trend, let me do this, you know.
Yeah.
But what I sing about is something that I personally have experienced. And I think, you know, it's just an amazing feeling. It does feel like growth to me, as much as I've been in the music industry for so long. But also as a solo artist, you know, when you're in a band, it's not about you. So I can't exactly sing about me, you know. But having a solo project gives you that opportunity also to just say, this is my story, you know, like if you listen carefully to what I'm singing about, you put the pieces together.
That's beautiful. The fact that individuality seems to mean something to you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I've kind of like noticed that in your career, that you've kind of redefined what it looks like to be a woman singer, you know? Yeah. You've incorporated the fashion, you've incorporated the business element. You're always working like a business curator with your career. Yeah. You're not just looking at your career in one dimension.
Yeah.
Where did that come from, that inspiration to see yourself in that way and to take yourself that seriously?
Honestly, in the beginning, it was like I don't think this was a plan, you know, for me to have my own fashion label. But I've always loved fashion. Obviously, I've always loved looking good, you know. But then I feel like I've always had the two passions, which is music and fashion. And it was a matter of music came first into the scene. But what I liked about that, it worked out perfectly for me, because with music, obviously, after recording an album, you have to shoot a cover. And, you know, you
it's
need
a place
look
to
for
display
that.
the fashion.
Exactly. And you go out to award ceremonies and, you know, all of that. So they kind of like go together. So it made it like a natural move for me, because I've kind of like always known that I love clothes. But I just, you know, I think with time, that's when I realized that this is something that I really want to do. You know, also after getting tons and tons of compliments, especially from women, you know, and they would always ask, where did you get that? And every piece that I would buy from a shop, I would add a little something. So it was kind of like difficult to say, oh, go to this shop, you know, because I knew they were not going to find the exact same thing. So I thought, you know what, actually, let me share this with the women.
We're hanging out with Nhlanhla Mafu in our studios right here, streaming live on Facebook, that's Channel Africa, streaming live on YouTube as well, Channel Africa 1. It's definitely a good time. And if you want to see this gorgeous, incredible woman in the studio with us, join our live stream, put your comments in there. We'd love to have you. We'll continue this conversation after the break.
With gratitude for the voices, the rhythm, and the dreams that unite us all.
Roho ya Afrika inaishi katika kila hadithi tunayosimulia.
Each new day is a gift, a reminder to pause, to breathe, and to give thanks for the laughter we share and the journeys we take and the stories that shape who we are.
Cada nascer do sol, que lembre de algo pelo qual ser grato.
La vie est un voyage, parcourons-la avec gratitude.
Channel Africa. Celebrate the beauty of life with gratitude for the voices, the rhythms, and the dreams that unite us all. This is Africa with Channel Africa, the African perspective. Be inspired. Stay informed. Channel Africa, the beauty of life. Now available anytime, anywhere with our new app.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
All right, we're speaking to Nhlanhla Mafu, who is joining us, South African musician, businesswoman, creative director, and founding member of Mafikizolo, joining us in our Channel Africa studio. I remember first hearing Sibongile, right?
Yeah.
And then I just heard what I just heard as your latest single right now. I'm like, this is like a departure, a very serious departure. Tell us a little bit about the latest music that you're working on, because it's very different to what we know you, because it seems like we know you as this Kwela girl.
Yeah.
But now you've moved into this tech element.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
I've always loved Afro house and Afro tech, and as a result, there's a couple of features that I did. I did a feature with Prince KB at some point. I did a feature with DJ Spoo, and they were all like Afro tech sounds.
Sure.
And I just loved the sound. I think for me, it was kind of like natural, if I wanted to do something that was still like current. I mean, it's not the now sound, but now it's coming up. People are now starting to pay attention to that sound. But for me, it's something that has always been there. And I find that, even when I sing, my voice blends like, it's like a natural move. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful.
So, one would say you can become current by doing amapiano and so forth, but I've never felt like a natural connection for me with amapiano, and it really just always felt like difficult to try and put myself
hop on
there.
the beat,
But with the house music, it's just like a natural,
And
connection.
let's speak a little bit about that natural connection, because throughout the history of your music, even with Mafikizolo and yourself as a solo artist, you've dabbled in quite a number of genres, and sometimes we're like, what's going on here? Like in the beginning, we're like, oh, hang on, are you collaborating with like West African artists? Okay, in the beginning, it's like, this is a strange sound to us.
Yeah.
And then when it starts really, coming into the industry, like, oh, we see what they were doing with that now.
Yeah.
So that that ability to try and dabble in different genres, try and understand what you naturally gravitate to. It's one thing to just go into a genre simply because it is popular at that time. But how do you find that? How do you settle in that feeling to say, yeah, this feels a little bit more like me. This feels like a sound that can also be associated with who I am.
Yeah. I think, it's a it's a familiar move, if I can put it like that, because even when we started out as Mafikizolo, we did so many different genres whilst we were trying to find ourselves. And finally, when we did the Afropop sound and did the Kwela sound, we were like, it just felt like we're at home. We finally arrived, and the results showed, that, we found now our comfortable space. And it's the same thing with me, when I'm working on something, when I recorded this song, I literally recorded it, I think, 4 times, going back to the studio, just recording one song, going and doing the whole entire song for the whole night, finishing at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Then I'll go home and I listen and I'm like, I haven't connected with this song. And I want that, as an artist. So I went from different tones. If you listen to the tone of this particular song, you would hear that it's like a much more deeper tone. Than how I would usually sing. So so that's really, really important for me, because the thing is, especially what I sing about on this song, it's something that is very personal to me. It's about my relationship with God, and so I have to believe it first before it even goes out. So if I don't believe it, then how am I going to convince you? Like when you listen, you kind of like, you would pick that up, especially if you love music, you're a person that understands music. So so for me, it's like finding that and connecting with the song, and then taking it out to the people.
Well, we've been saying the song. We have to play the song. The song is titled Ingaba Lami, Ingaba Yam. Yes, and that is Nhlanhla Mafu's latest single. Right now, let's bring in our latest sports news with Musibudi Makura. And after our news break, we play the song.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you so much, Palesa. Very good morning from the sports day. So South African football side Kaizer Chiefs are settling into their new surroundings in Suez in Egypt, and sporting director Kaiser Motaung Jr. believes 3 points is within reach against Al Masry on Sunday. So the two teams will lock horns in the CAF Confederation Cup group stages opening match at the Suez Stadium on Sunday night in a tough Group D, which also features Egyptian giants Zamalek as well as Zambian side Zesco United. Motaung Jr. knows a win in this fixture could set the tone for the rest of the group stages.
3 points on the board from the get-go is very important, and I think a positive start away puts in a very good state. I think everyone's going out there to put their best foot forward. We know that's going to be a mammoth task ahead of us, but I think that the team is very well prepared, and I think we're also very aware of the threat that's going to face us. And I think we're looking forward to it, quietly optimistic, and I think everyone knows the importance of 3 points. We're going to win, we're playing to win, so we're looking forward to give our best away from home. And if you get those away results, it could be tough for teams coming here to South Africa in our summer, playing in the afternoons. They're not used to that there, so an away tie is very crucial for us.
Now, a significant boost for Amakhosi is the return of several players from injury, including the likes of Given Masango as well as Paseka Mako, with Motaung also believing this will help build their momentum for this tournament.
Very much important. I mean, it gives you your time to gel together, to understand, gain your momentum. At the same time, it's a two-edged sword, like we always say. It's like this gives us time to integrate some other players who come back from injury. We welcome people like Given who've been out for a while, so it gives you that time to give other people minutes in the FIFA break. Also to reflect and see what has worked, what brought us to this point, and where we can still improve.
Right, we'll stay with more football news. The stage is set for the CAF Women's Champions League final as former champions AS5 of Morocco will face debutants ASEC Mimosas of Cote d'Ivoire in today's much-anticipated final. So following yet another exciting edition of the Africa's most prestigious women club football tournament, the AS5 as well as ASEC Mimosas teams are the only two remaining contenders for this title that will be contested at the Suez Canal Stadium in Ismailia, Egypt tonight. In addition to the coveted title, the 2025 victors will then qualify for the playoff round to the FIFA Women's Champions Cup, making today's contest even more tighter and even more important. Now, the two finalists' journey to the final has been nothing short of exceptional amidst a tough group stage and semi-final stage. Well, South Africa's Springbok powerhouse Achie Snyman hits a major milestone this weekend, earning his 50th Test cap, and he'll do so right in front of the heart of Leinster, a place that he now calls home. So coach Rassie Erasmus is going full throttle, unleashing a near full-strength Bok lineup to take on Ireland at the Aviva Stadium on Saturday. It's a bold move, by the way, with Erasmus also reverting to the core squad that crushed France about 2 weeks ago, making just two changes from that dominant display. So Ron Nokia steps in for Lou Diaga while Kwacha Smith returns to the bench. Franco Mostart, though cleared to play after his red card was overturned, hasn't made the cut. And finally, on the tennis court, Germany completed a remarkable comeback to beat Argentina in a thrilling doubles decider and set up a Davis Cup semi-final against Spain. Now, Kevin Kawetzes as well as Tim Puetz saved 3 match points in the final set tiebreak to overcome Horacio Zabalos as well as Andre Molteni 4-6, 6-4 and 7-6 in a grilling contest lasting about 2.5 hours. Argentina had put the first points on the board when the world number 60 Thomas Echeverry hit 23 aces to beat Jean-Leonard Struff 7-6 and 7-6 in a high-quality encounter. But the world number 3 Alexander Zverev launched Germany's recovery, beating the world number 21 Francesco Cerundolo 6-4 and 7-6 to force the deciding doubles. Now, Zverev, the only top 10 singles player competing in the Davis Cup this week, was not at his best, but a brilliant tie-break performance kept Germany's hopes of progressing to the second straight semi-final alive. So Spain will face off with Germany in Bologna on Saturday, with the two-time defending champions Italy taking on Belgium in the first semi-final later on today. Well, it's exactly 11:35 a.m. Central African time. That's a wrap from the sports desk this hour and, of course, this morning. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, send us an email. That's to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Give us a call as well on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, have a great sporting weekend. I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Deogratus Bwire, wewe kama mkurugenzi wa shirika la kutetea haki za binadamu kutoka kule Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Maandamano yameendelea kwa siku ya pili. Nini kinaendelea?
Kwanza mimi ningependa tusiliweke kama wafuasi wa upinzani. Kwa sababu kiukweli mimi nilipata kidogo kushuhudia watu waliokuwa wanapita barabarani hawakuwa kwa namna yoyote ile wamebeba bendera ya chama chochote cha upinzani.
Umezungumzia swala zima vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa vinapaswa kurekebishwa. Vitu hivyo ni nini?
Hiyo vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa tayari nimeshavisema huko. Najua kumekuwepo na mtiririko wa matukio mengi sana. Watu ambao wanakuwa wanapinga masuala kadha wa kadha ambayo yanaonekana kufanywa na vyombo vya dola kwenye mitandao au hata pia nje, wamekuwa wakichukuliwa hatua.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
All right, let's quickly move on right now and get our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Good morning. In our final business update this morning, China has signed a $1.4 billion agreement with Zambia and Tanzania to modernize the Tazara Railway linking landlocked Zambia to the Indian Ocean. The railway, financed by China in the 1970s to facilitate copper exports and fuel imports through Tanzania, remains a critical trade route and is widely seen as countering the US and EU-backed Lobito Corridor, a route from Angola through Zambia to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The agreement was signed during a visit to Zambia by Chinese Premier Li Qiang, the first such visit in 28 years, at a time when Africa's second largest copper producer is emerging from a financial crisis. Chiang says the refurbishment cements relations between China and Africa.
We should strengthen infrastructure connectivity, consolidating railway, roads, ports, and other infrastructure to build multimodal transport corridor and a modern logistics system. On the other hand, we should strengthen institutional connectivity concerning customs, commodity inspection, and taxes to promote greater facilitation of trade and investment. Looking into the future, China-Africa cooperation enjoys vast prospects.
The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, says it's unacceptable that it costs African countries 20% more to trade with each other than with nations outside the continent. Speaking at the annual Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Okonjo-Iweala said Africa has not benefited fully from the multilateral trading system and remains poorly integrated into global markets. She also called for the introduction of an African visa to help cut the costs of doing business across borders and boost trade within the continent.
We must continue the battle. And that's what makes me wake up every day, because we have not benefited enough on the African continent. We cannot allow the ladder that allowed others to climb up to be kicked away just when we are getting ready. We must battle for it.
South Africa's G20 presidency is termed Africa's G20. As the 2025 G20 chair, South Africa is set to be well positioned to champion the priorities of emerging markets and elevate Africa's development agenda within the G20 framework. In the discussions ahead of this weekend's G20 Leaders Summit, the president of the Pan-African Parliament, Chief Fortune Charumbira, has called on the continent to be united in order to advance a coordinated platform for continental engagement at the G20 summit, especially because the world is now starting to recognize Africa as a key element of the global economic architecture.
You can't leave out Africa. Africa is now the continent of the future. It's a recognition that this is the continent of the future. You can no longer regard Africa as a backward continent which doesn't matter. And the fact that Africa enjoys the largest population of the youth for the future. And those youth from Africa will also influence the economic dynamics across the world.
Meanwhile, Germany's ambassador to South Africa, Andreas Petschke, has reaffirmed Europe's commitment to strengthening its strategic partnership with South Africa as President Cyril Ramaphosa met with EU leadership yesterday. Speaking at the SA-EU trilateral engagement in Sandton, Petschke said top EU leaders, including European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa, have already arrived in Johannesburg, with Germany's Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor expected shortly.
Yeah, first of all, we are, of course, all very happy that we have come here for the G20 summit. So the two EU leaders, President von der Leyen, President Costa, are already here. The German Chancellor is going to come soon. The Vice-Chancellor is going to come soon. So we are all here supporting South Africa for the G20 summit.
Britain's borrowing in the first 7 months of the financial year was the highest on record, except during the COVID pandemic. This is according to data from the Office for National Statistics that lays bare the scale of the challenge facing Finance Minister Rachel Reeves in her budget next week. Government borrowing between April and October totaled $152.9 billion, over $13 billion more than forecast by analysts. And now taking a look at the indicators, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,453 naira this morning. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 47. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 97. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 86. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 33 this morning. Russia, 80 rubles 30. In India, it's 88 rupees 66. China, 7 yuan 10, and South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 20 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 76 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,060 per ounce, platinum at $1,501 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $62.47 a barrel. And those are your business news this morning. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África @ newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
The G20 Summit, through African eyes, live updates, and expert voices, only on Channel Africa.
Definitely,
Wow.
she is the diva.
It's incredible.
It is certified. Definitely, of course. That is Nhlanhla Mafu with one titled Inqaba Yami.
So
beautiful
beautiful.
song. I can hear that deep tone that you kind of conjured up there. Beautiful, beautiful song. You were telling us a little bit about the background to this song. It's actually a powerful story you were telling us off air. Tell us how the story came about.
So I think the story starts off with just me being in a very good space, and the story comes of me just having my reconnection with God, and also just me looking back and saying, without God, would I be here?
Yeah.
And the answer is always no. And when I think about it, how I got through everything that I got through is because of my faith. And I don't think that I would have survived, what I've been through without my faith. So hanging on to God's word and God's promise is what's got me here. When he said, I shall never leave you nor forsake you. And he never did, even when times were really, really bad and I was going through the most, I could feel still his presence. And so this song is really about that. And it's about me just saying, God is my fortress and he'll always be Ngabayam, and that's where I go to when I'm happy, when I'm sad, it doesn't matter, but that's where I go to.
I love that. It's a beautiful song, and it feels like almost like a new chapter of Nhlanhla Mafu that we are exploring, that we are also being brought into. And we're looking forward to this new chapter. There's always going to be chapters after chapters after chapters. Is this just a single or part of greater work that you're doing?
It is part of greater work that I'm doing. I'm dropping in EP next year.
Yay.
Okay.
And so, this is kind
And
of...
next year is just now, right? It's almost next year.
Yeah, exactly. Just a couple of months.
Yeah,
So
wow,
we'll
looking
be
forward
dropping
to
a
that.
full EP, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through. It's been incredible hang out with you and talking to you. I mean, if we could speak from the beginning to the end of your entire career and all the new things we're doing, we'd have to take the entire 3 hours to do that. But for the time that you've given us, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, that's the incredible Nhlanhla Mafu, multi-award winning musician, artist, entrepreneur, fashion designer, you name it. And today she brings us a brand new single by the name of Inqaba Yami. Beautiful one. Let's move on, get a little bit of a break as we say goodbye to Nhlanhla and move on to find out what's coming up next right here on Channel Africa.
The voice of the continent, now online, with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more.
Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast.
That smells delicious.
Live, 5 days a week.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
We are on OpenView's audio bouquet. Channel 628. Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge.
All right, Lulu Gabu is here to let us know what's coming up on today's Africa Update from 12 p.m. Central Africa time. Happy Friday, Lulu. How are you doing?
Happy Friday. It is a Black Friday, Purple Friday?
It is a Black Friday.
And it is
We're in black.
The G20 summit.
It is the G20
here.
summit
It
as
is
well.
upon us, albeit with drama. Last night when the president was talking about how the U.S. has decided to, send somebody and to be a part of it, and then now it's come out that it's fake news, and from their side there's nothing of the sort, but there has been a response. And United States accusing South Africa's president of running his mouth.
I mean, I saw that.
How do you say that?
A president
about a sitting
is running its mouth.
Yes, I was listening to watching a number of analysts and experts, and they were saying that President Ramaphosa should stop responding.
Yeah.
President Ramaphosa should just continue with the business at hand, which is the G20 summit. And the declarations that need to be adopted will be adopted in whether it's a consensus and so on, whether the US is there or not. That's the big debate now. And whether the handover is going to happen. South Africa's president has said he's not going to hand over to a junior person who's not at his level as the president of a country. So a lot happening on that front. Different views coming out, a lot of emotion. South Africans are getting quite emotive about this, which is, we are patriotic. We have to be patriotic at the end of the day. And then also, we do have a team that's out at Nasrec. They'll be giving our listeners, viewers across the African continent and the globe an eye view of what is happening there. There's a media room or media center where the media from across the globe, including South Africa, will be stationed, including Channel Africa. I promise you, I saw a glimpse of us, of our branding on the screen, and I thought, wow, that's us, so we're looking forward to that. We are going to be on the ground tomorrow morning from 8 o'clock until 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. in the evening. So there's a lot of excitement coming through. And then various activists joined in at the G20 summit and the importance of the G20 being held on the African continent. And also we're speaking to an activist, as you can see, most of us are dressed in black and in support of ending GBV. It's either black or purple. And we do have an activist who is here who will be joining us and unpacking all of that for us with regards to why this is happening and how everyone's support is key.
Well, thank you so much, Lulu Gabu. The Africa update from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Africa time. Let's take a short break. We are still on the move. Don't go anywhere.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
Naifalo indlela
Hey, that is Amanda Moe with one titled Ngihlanyiswa Nguwe.
You make me go crazy.
You drive me insane.
That's how we wrap up for the day. We're about to say goodbye, but before we go, I just want to put, a little pointer out there. We've had Women for Change on the Move show, speaking about the reason why South Africa has changed the profile pictures purple, why we're wearing black on this particular day as we're fighting against gender-based violence and femicide here in South Africa. Just yesterday, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that the government of South Africa will be classifying gender-based violence and femicide in South Africa as a national disaster. This is really, really important for us to highlight and to spotlight. The women and the children of South Africa are going through something immense, something to the point of a national disaster. Gender-based violence and femicide should stop. So as we leave the studio from 12 o'clock to 12:15, I, Palesa, will be taking a lie down here in the studio during Lulu Kabu's show in solidarity with the women of South Africa, as one myself. For those who would love to join all across the world, be free to do so. This is how Women Have Change have said that the protest will be taking place. Take your 15 minutes of silence. Do not contribute to the economy in any particular way for this particular 15 minutes or for the day if you can. And wherever you are, stand in solidarity with the women of South Africa and against gender-based violence and femicide.
All right, guys, we're getting out of here. Until next time, God bless.
Have a good day.
This is Africa Update, your pulse to the continent. Stories shaping nations and voices driving change. Stay informed, stay connected, right here on Channel Africa, the African perspective.